services could look like, and they will then, in about a year's time, once they put that together, form local boards or committees as part of the area forum structure that will have some responsibility for local services. So all the stuff we talked about with the TMO, with J&B last time, is pretty much on the table for them.
Are they pretty active, are they? Because
that's part of the issue.
Yeah.
This is we're talking about people who haven't wanted to go to TMO or have never asked to go to TMO, but we think that there's some value there in still perhaps giving them the option to have control of their estates without going down that route. Now, the idea of these pilots is to see how that's going to work and whether or not it works where there are variable amounts of involvement from each area. The reason for the three setting themselves up separately is that they may all have different views on how much they want to be involved. And some of the feedback has been, for example, we pay our rent, you're supposed to run things, which is a fair enough viewpoint, I think. Some, on the other hand, are very keen and very excited about the idea of getting more involved. I thought that on the basis of that, the January meeting would be a good time for us to hear about that from the officers that are setting it up as part of our wider look into housing repairs and connected to what we looked at already with J&B last time. So I'm proposing that I add that to the January agenda and ask them to come and tell us a bit more about it, and then to come back a lot later and tell us how it's going, because I think it needs careful supervision.
It's good to get some key statistics before it's implemented as well, so that we can sort of look at things before and after.
Yeah.
And what they're measuring.
Okay. Fire Commander is at the next meeting as well, so we're going to have a very similar meeting to this one, but with the Fire Commander. So please do email topics that you'd like to discuss to Fitz, so we can pass those on to the Fire Commander. And again, very welcome at the back if you want to come and talk to the Commander of Fire Services in the borough. We had a large cut to our local fire services over the last couple of years, and this will be our chance to ask how that has gone in terms of local response times since Southwark shut and one of the engines was lost at Peckham. So this is our chance to have a look at that data. I think Fitz, we might ask for some figures in advance so we can compare the service a year ago with the service as it is now. But please do send any questions, topics, etc. to Fitz so we can give them a heads up on the sort of things we might be looking at. And finally, Eleanor, do you want to lead us through what we've done on Right to Buy?
Yeah, I can do. It's sort of moving quite quickly, but myself, Tom and Gavin, Chair of Open Scrutiny, main committee, have been looking at the effects of the government's housing bill, both Right to Buy for housing associations, but also how that's going to be funded. And the current proposal is that it will be funded by essentially forcing councils to sell high value council homes. We don't yet know what high value is, but we're looking at that as well. I think there's a sort of a draft report in circulation. I think the aim is to get a first draft to Cabinet next week, I think.
To ask on Monday.
To ask on Monday, yeah. Also, something that Chair and I were speaking about for the meeting was Helen Hayes MP is on one of the committees that are feeding in comments to the housing bill. So we will also try and speak to Helen about what she's doing. And I suppose there's a lot of bad news in the bill, but are there any kind of hopeful changes or anything that kind of the opposition's lobbying has been able to break through? And something that certainly the council is commenting on separately from Right to Buy is increased rent for housing council tenants who earn more than 40,000, and I think Richard and the council have proposed that is too low, especially in London, that should be a high level. So
Lib Dems have submitted the same.
Yeah, and it absolutely is. So somewhere that maybe there'll be movement, but I just don't think we know yet.
Yeah. So the report, there is a draft going to OSC. We all finished our sections last week, and Gavin's putting it all together. So once that report is a paper for OSC, I propose that we also circulate it to this committee, and then if you could pass comments back, either I'm on OSC, So I can take comments, or if you'd like to pass it back to any of your members on us as well, because we'll be discussing it at the
Bing's going on
meeting.
to ask, he's taking over from Hayes. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant, perfect, yeah. So
Can I say as well, just by coincidence, the SGCO is meeting with Helen Hayes tomorrow.
okay,
So if you've got anything you can feed back.
we'll have a think. Yes.
It's David McLean from the
David
Research
McLean.
Officer and myself are going tomorrow. So
Okay.
if you-
Yeah. Yes.
When will the meeting with the fire officer?
It's January.
Yeah, it is the
25th of January.
there we go, 25th of January. Ian, quick one.
Tom, I get the impression that the council is talking to itself about the effects of the housing and planning bill. I'm the vice chair of Tenants Council. They're not talking to us, and it's time we all started talking together because we are the ones who are worst affected, right? And we're the ones who will have to bear the brunt of the worst legislation I think I've seen in housing legislation I've seen in my life. Right, and I've spoken to Richard Livingston. Hopefully we will be invited to their next cabinet members briefing. But you're talking among yourselves, and you're talking to MPs, but you're not talking to us. Right, that's no indication that anything you're doing is coming to Tenants Council, and I think it's about time that it did.
Could I just add to that, on Wednesday, the Tenants Council is meeting with the SGTO. We've got Paul Ankford coming and to talk about the housing plan bill. I mean, if any members are able to come along to hear.
Send me details later and we'll see what we
It's 7
can do.
o'clock
Yeah.
on Wednesday at Bells Gardens.
Yeah.
And I think one thing
yeah.
I would say to that is, I think you absolutely take the point that I think we should perhaps go and talk to Tenants Council about the points out and invite their feedback. But we are all kind of obviously talking to council tenants in our own ward. You know, I've spoken about this in a number of TRAs. Spoke to about the Pullins Estate about it the weekend. So, you know, everyone, a lot of councillors are council tenants, and so, you know, it is very much people being listened to. We know this is terrible, and we're doing our best to fight it.
Well, our councils in our wards not talk to us.
What ward are you?
What's it called? Nunhead?
Nunhead
Oh,
Ward.
right, we'll have a word.
I'm surprised how many council tenants are.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Unless anyone's got anything very quick that they need. No, thanks everyone, and good night.